Daily Graphic starts this morning and says Captain Mahama promoted to major as government set up fund with 500,000 cedis. President donates 50,000 cedis. That's the big story on the Daily Graphic. And the BC takes up with few H's. The story is captured on page 16. And on the Captain Mahama story, 34 remanded over Major Mahama's death. Daily Graphic has the story. The BNFT says prioritize NPRA over SNIT. That's according to an analyst making the suggestion. And then sanction corrupt port officials. A Greek minister there talking. The Ghanaian Times carries the Captain Mahama story and says government set up 50,000 CD fund for late Captain Mahama and also promoted to major. 34 suspects remanded. And the Heritage, the Statesman says time for African universities to think big. President Akufo-Addo is talking there. And then NPP urges executives in government to resign and focus on work. And Gender Minister calls for end to cultural violence in society. The Economy Times says credit to private sector increased sharply. And Finance Ministry seeks transaction advisor for energy bonds. Those are the stories. Heritage has this photograph. Denchabuasi People's Right BEC in peace a week after gruesome murder of Captain Mahama. Also here, angry crowd storms court. My guest to do the talking this morning, to my extreme left, is a member of parliament for the Mion constituency, a member of the NDC, Abdulaziz Mohammed. Good morning. And I hope you're doing great.
I'm good.
Right, thanks so much for coming. Then the MPP's National Nasra Coordinator is also with me, Kamadin Abdullah. Good morning, too.
Good morning, Bright.
I hope you're doing good.
I'm terrific, are you?
I'm also good. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, let's start this morning with this story that is making a lot of waves. The ABC News has a story. On the back page, it says that Akufo-Addo government didn't ask for new cars. Kojo Ponkroma is saying that they were told that by the paper that a former presidential staffer, Dr. Clement Apak, disclosed that his government ordered some 43 new vehicles a few days before leaving office upon the request of the incoming Akufo-Addo administration. Dr. Apak also noted that the Mahama administration agreed to the request by Nana Addo because they felt that the security of the incoming president was of importance. But a deputy information minister has suggested that the other side of the transitional team did not ask for anything like that. That same story is captured on page 5 by the Finder, which says that Julius Deborah approved 43 cars before transition team was formed. So this is the issue here. Cars approved before the teams were formed or not. Now, Kamadi, let me begin with you this morning. So the government has placed a moratorium on buying new cars. Now, these cars are seated there. Are we going back and forth on this because of the moratorium not to acquire new cars?
Well, I mean, let me say a very good morning to viewers out there, and a very good morning to Honorable Aziz, MP for Mion. The first time, it's the first time we're meeting on set.
Right.
After he bought some cars for us, he has to come and explain why. He has to come and explain why we needed 43 cars for this presidency. Anyway, I think it's also important I add this. The president at the cabinet meeting yesterday were told, indeed, was so sad regarding the death of the killing of one of our strong men in the country who, of course, were out there to protect us as a people. I mean, late Captain Mahama. Nonetheless, we must commend the president for the show of maturity and the way they are handling the matter now. Let's also be quick to add, I know maybe it will be one of the stories.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Let's be quick to add that early mob action at any given time is not supposed to be, given space in our society. Now, government's position on the acquisition or the procurement of these vehicles is simple. Did the government sworn in on the 7th of January know about these, vehicles that were supposed to be procured? Fact is that no, they didn't know at all. Now, another question. The outgone government, did they properly go into contract with Amalgamated Security Company, okay, who are supposed to be contractors in this matter? Did they properly go into contract with them? That is yet to be looked at, and of course, a decision will be taken on that by government. And if that decision is arrived at, and I believe that there was nothing untoward regarding the contract, which warrants review on all that, government of the day at the end of the day would have to succumb and then ensure that Ghana is not shortchanged. That, of course, if the vehicles are meant to be used by the president or the vice president, or if you like, the wives or their spouses, so be it. We move on, and then we find a way of getting our country on a very right, footing. You see, this talk about the government of the day or today knew about these vehicles is a fallacy. It's a complete fallacy.
There's no documented
that. Palpable falsehood. I don't know where Dr. Park is.
Times.
You see, the point is simple. Yes, there was transition. When did the contract, when was the contract signed?
We're told by the finder that, yes, on 9th December.
When was the transition team constituted? Fundamental questions.
It was on the 11th of December.
Absolutely. So even before the formation of the transition team, you had gone into contract, okay, with a company to procure vehicles for us. Then you then come to say that, look, it was done with the consent of the incoming government. You see,
the other side of the team was
on
not
this
told.
call,
The other side of the team was not told about it.
No.
Okay.
Nothing. And no conversation regarding acquisition or regarding procurement of vehicles came up at all. Our Deputy Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, yesterday came out to say it. He said, look, not even the chair, the co-chair of the transition team, Honorable Osafo Mafo, knew about this. No conversation like that came up. But you want us to believe, as Ghanaians, that you had discussions with the incoming government before going ahead to sign this contract, which is not true. In any case, I'm aware that some people have gone to court to say that they have been sacked from office or they have been removed from office by the new president, or by the new government, if you like. Now, if, of course, they think that they were properly, as it were, employed by the then government, this government has come and want to relook at the engagement that was given them, and of course, have asked them to sit for them to relook at it and see if indeed they're supposed to be, or they were properly, as it were, engaged or employed. Now, events like that has happened. We've had minority today coming out to hold press conferences, telling us that, look, people who were duly employed or who were properly employed by the state have actually been asked to sit home, okay? And question is, did you do that with recourse to the incoming government? If you claim that, yes, for this case, we should believe that you did that with recourse to incoming government, and your argument on engaging people at GRA and other institutions, signing other contracts, those ones, when we question, you said, yes, we are in government until the midnight on the 7th of January, that will cease to be in government. Therefore, we could do whatever we wanted to do. But today, you want Ghanaians to believe. You see, this hypocrisy must stop. You want Ghanaians to believe that for the procurement of vehicles, you had engaged the incoming government when the transition team was not even formed. Which is which? Honorable Aziz, I think these people should let us understand the truth is one, and truth will remain one. If you had done other things without recourse to the incoming government, that one was a problem. And today you are talking about it and saying that we were in government and we could do it. But today, procurement of vehicle, that one you say, oh, you had involved the incoming government. So was the incoming government properly sworn in? So where's the argument? These distortions must stop. Nonetheless, I would say that, look, as Ghanaians, If the vehicles or the contract was properly entered into, the vehicles have actually been procured, payment is yet to be done, because per the contract we are told that 60 days after they were supposed to do delivery. Having done delivery, payment will follow. And we are told now per the story that indeed some of these vehicles have been procured, and they are sitting somewhere in Dubai also. Okay, if it is true that the contract was properly done, last week I had cause to discuss this matter here when the procurement minister, Madam Ajosafo, said that, look, don't abrogate any contract. Let those contracts come before us. Let us look at them, look at the legal implications of those contracts before going ahead. If you like, there's any reason why we need to abrogate it, we abrogate it. Otherwise, there's this fear of creating judgment debt for the state. So if we look at it properly as a government, and we think that it is better and proper that we absorb the contract and of course meet the considerations therein to ensure that yes, Ghana is not shortchanged, so be it. I'm for it. Because in any case, the gas is not going to the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's home. It belongs to the state. He's the president, he's the commander-in-chief, he'll be using them all right. Just as we did transition and then took certain things from the past government, same way tomorrow, if government changes, transition will be done, and of course, the state's properties will still be left for the state. Anyway.
I see. I come back to ask you exactly this issue of moratorium and all that, but
I wanted to go there, but
Honorable Aziz Mohammed, so the concern is that the government, the past government, seemed to be not telling the truth
at all.
This whole thing, that the other side was not consulted at all in handling this issue.
Good morning to our cherished viewers, especially to my constituents back in Myeong. First time meeting Mr. Kamal on set. On the issue of these vehicles that were purchased, or if you like, the contract awarded for the purchase of vehicles by the SWAL NDC regime for the use of the current government. Two versions of the story have come to play. The current regime argues that they were not in the picture, they were not informed, and that they had nothing to do with the purchase of those vehicles. I listened to Honorable Deputy Minister for Information speak to this issue on radio yesterday. I also listened to Honorable Member for Brusa North, Dr. Clement Apak, who was a presidential staffer. He was an integral part of the SWAL NDC regime, indicate clearly that it was at the request of the current government that those vehicles were bought. And so it is a word of the Deputy Minister for Information against that of Dr. Clement Apak. In fact, it is the word of this current regime against the word of the former NDC regime. Now, you see, don't get the facts twisted. Right. The contract was signed on 3rd of January 2017.
Right.
At that time, we had finished with the issue of transition.
3rd of January, yeah?
Yes, yes, of course, it's 3rd. That was when the contract was signed.
Of January.
Right.
In fact, the new government had not been inaugurated, but we had finished with the processes of transition. It is indicated that a letter has been signed by the then Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra, giving some clearance for a contract to be awarded somewhere 9th of December. Yeah. The transitional team was constituted and inaugurated on 11th of December. But you and I know that the way government machinery works, there are discussions behind the curtains. You know, no, it's true. Well, I would understand when people call for paper documentation to the effect that there was some arrangement between the incoming regime and the exiting regime at that time. I mean, it is a fair call. But you and I would understand that around side times, people discuss behind closed doors, some arrangements are made. I'm not for a moment trying to hold brave for anyone, but you see, we will need more clarity on this matter. The senior minister, who we are told was part of the arrangement has not spoken to us publicly. The Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister for Finance, who was an integral part of the transitional team at your end, has not spoken to us publicly. We have not also listened to the former Chief of Staff on this matter. It is the Deputy Information Minister and Dr. Clement Apak who have publicly spoken to this issue. Okay. I would want us to
I'm coming a minute. We're told by the ABC News that the Deputy Information Minister was speaking on the authority of the senior minister. So we could as well conclude that this is from the senior minister saying that no such consultation was done. Well, Dr. Clement Apak, listening to him on radio, also claimed to have been speaking for and on behalf of the former Chief of Staff. That's what I'm saying, is the word of these two, the outgoing regime and the current regime. But you see, we need to go beyond the extreme partisanship. If you ask me, if I was in the shoes of the transitional team on the part of the NDC, if I was clothed with the authority to enter into such an arrangement, trust me, I wouldn't have done that. But you see, right after the NPP took over, we were told that some state vehicles were missing. In fact, they ransacked people's homes in search of those vehicles, only to render an apology to those same people. We were told that some 7 billion Ghana cedis were missing from Ghana's coffers. And so these are people that you cannot take them for their word. Because look, those vehicles that were missing, in fact, even at a point in time, we saw a Land Cruiser somewhere in a spray shop in a garage. And we were told it was a state vehicle that we had stolen and we're trying to do some works on. What has come of all those allegations? And so for me, if you were to ask me to put some weight on the words of the Deputy Minister for Information, I would do that with a pinch of salt, because I've just told you that in this country, when they took over, we're told that the likes of Kofi Adams and co had stolen state vehicles, and that we had run away with state vehicles. What has come of that? All those allegations have proven not to be true. And so let's do proper investigations into this matter. But you see, going beyond just these 43 vehicles that we are buying for the president, the vice president, and their spouses, I think that we can't be spending these huge sums of money every 4 years for a fleet of vehicles just for the comfort of the president, the vice president, and their spouses. I'm not saying their office comes with some amount of security implications, and so I understand. But 10 million Ghana cedis every 4 years, I think, would be on the high side.
$9 million.
I see, $9 million. Yeah. And so what I'd want to advocate is that I know, for instance, that in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, some portions of the Transitional Act was amended. Let us try to see how best we can work around transitions so that these hula baloo acquisitions and kata acquisitions would come to a stop. Maybe we should be looking at the practice in America, where somewhere, some 3 months or so to the elections, the president virtually becomes a lame duck president. You know, your hands are somehow tied as regards to what you can do and what you cannot do, because you don't want a situation where you commit the incoming regime to some commitments that they are unable to fulfill. But you see, I must stress that the mandate of President Mahama and the NDC came to an end midnight on 6th January 2017.
All right.
Whether you were consulted or not does not vitiate the contract. It does not vitiate the contract. And so what you can do, it does not vitiate the contract. What you can do is to engage. If you are not interested in those vehicles, I'm sure you can work around with whoever is the amalgamated company that is going to supply. Look, those vehicles are not going to supply to President Mahama.
The matter has just been settled this morning. This matter that we are discussing has just been settled by my brother, the honourable member of Parliament from Young this morning.
Let me move this conversation a bit higher. The presidency,
yes.
Do we need more vehicles there? From what we're hearing about the vehicles that the president is using. Yeah, it's a question to
very well. Now, I'm saying that, just before I get to the question, is it this matter being discussed this morning here has just been settled by my Honorable Member of Parliament from here. You see, unless maybe he's forgotten what he said earlier. Earlier on, you said you would take whatever the Deputy Information Minister said with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
And you cited instances where you thought that you were impugning some, as it were, inaccuracies in terms of delivery by our government. That our position was that some cars were taken and blah, 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 blah. Today, he thinks that they were not true.
Oh,
let me land. Now, you cited this to say that our credibility in terms of wording should be questionable. Yeah. Again, you ended up by saying again that, look, the mandate of the ex-Wal government stopped or was supposed to stop at midnight on the 7th of January. I mean, on the 6th of January.
6th of January.
On the 6th of January. So, whether consulting, they consulted the incoming government or not, never vitiates the contract.
Yes.
It then goes to mean that my position earlier on, wait a minute, my position earlier on this matter, that look, we have been told that yes, we are consulted, and we say we have not been consulted at all. Then I went further to say that look, you had taken decisions prior to even the swearing in without consulting the incoming government. This particular matter, equally you could have taken it or you took it without consulting the incoming government. He has just affirmed my position.
Great.
To tell me that the mandate ended and therefore they needed even not to consult.
Great.
Now, get it right. Get it right.
I am moving on.
Now,
get it right here. Get it right.
Whether or not the procurement of these vehicles
we need more
were
vehicles.
important or with that. You see, we are in a country where you have time. Don't worry.
I'll get to it.
We are in a country where, as we said today, and that is a fact, the saloon vehicle, the BMW saloon car that the President of the Republic of Ghana is using, we are told is 10-year-old. Okay? And the last time I checked, when they were coming from Ebri or so, the driver had to, drive with care because the vehicle was not in good shape, as it were. Of course, let's not, play with this. Point is that we need to give our president the maximum security that he needs or he deserves. Not just our president alone, our vice president, their spouses, and if you like, people in government. Okay, the onus lies on us as a state to ensure that their protection is key. Now, if the vehicle...
In that direction, are you happy the Daily Guide yesterday published a story suggesting that the president vehicle is faulty and that it has broken down a couple of times on the road? Are you happy?
That's why I said I'm not happy. It's on us to ensure that this protection is given, swift vehicles are given, strict security detail procedures are given to our president, and if it involves getting a better vehicle, getting a good, as it were, transport material to help transport our president, why not? We do need it.
What happened? How did Daily Guide get that story?
Oh no, but this was out there. We had. You see,
the president convoy broke down, and Daily Guide got the story. Was it that a
I'm not too sure.
Daily Guide?
I'm not too sure what I read in the Daily Guide is different from what you read.
Exactly.
Daily Guide was not emphatic on saying that the president's vehicle broke down, and that they had to park or they had to move. What Daily Guide story sought to paint was that yes, they were coming from the eastern region. Okay. That vehicle developed a problem a bit. It didn't stop. So it had to force the driver then to slow down. That's what the story sought to say. And I'm saying that they never said that, look, the vehicle got broken down or broke down, and then they had to, as it were, get another vehicle for the president to move in. That is not the case. But in any case, if we know that the vehicle that is carrying our president is not in good shape, as a state, we do need a better vehicle for the president. With all respect, we do need a better vehicle for our president. Should anything happen like that, that would be a very serious disgrace to us as a nation. So for me, the procurement of these vehicles, except to say that there are some distortions in how they were procured, and in fact, the way they ran into or rushed into the contract, when they knew very well that there was transition in the offing. That's where we have a problem.
I see.
If you knew there was transition in the offing, you take your time. He just said that, look, in the U.S., when you are a president-elect and there's a certain president, their transition demands that you slow down on taking decisions for the future, okay, or decisions meant for the future. You slow down as a president. He just said so. And I think it's about time we learned from this. Because if you go and give a contract of $9 million and someone is supposed to come and take over the press of the country, and at the end of the day, we don't even have $9 million in there to pay, what are you doing to us?
Is government hands tied? Honorable, I'm coming to you. Is government hand tied in procuring new cars because of the moratorium it placed on acquisition of new cars?
Yeah, I think clearly when you come in to manage or to ensure that you prudently manage the economy of this country, you would have to first look at your liabilities and your assets. Now, if clearly your liabilities are huge and you have few assets in hand, you would have to make sure that prudently you disburse or you do your expenditure rightly or correctly. Now, if the moratorium given by the state says that or indicates that, look, let us not procure vehicles for now, that is not a priority. Okay? I can say on authority that the President of the Republic of Ghana, as we have today, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his government have not actually procured any vehicles. What is the matter now being discussed? It's a contract that has been entered into by the past government.
Before that
directive
was given.
It means that before the issuance of this moratorium.
But you concede some cars had been purchased before the directive was given.
By the state? By this new government? By
some ministries.
By this government?
Yes. Before the directive was given.
Not to the
you
best
don't
of
know
my
of
knowledge.
any?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay,
what I do know is that a moratorium had been issued. Well, even if some cars were given or some cars were bought before the issuance of the moratorium, it still doesn't. I mean, it still doesn't, cause a problem, or it doesn't create any issue here. Point is that there's a moratorium now. Are we abiding by that moratorium, or are we going by that moratorium issued by government? Yes.
Should government lift it and purchase new cars, since what the president is driving in now is not safe?
Oh, why? But we are told that already they've gone into a contract, and then the contract says that, look, the vehicles have been procured already. We're supposed, what is left now is for payments to be done.
So which is which? The contract or the moratorium?
I indicated that if we don't have better vehicles for the presidency, this is my personal view. If we don't have correct or good vehicles or well-functioning vehicle for the president, trust me, we should look into this contract that was signed by the ex-while or the immediate past government, look into it properly. If things are done well, why not? We're supposed to absorb them so that we will not create any judgment debt for the country.
Honorable Aziz.
You see, Kamal,
yes,
it is a statement of a fact that the mandate of President Mahama and NDC.
I agree with you.
So that's a statement of a fact. And so all contracts entered into by that regime up to midnight, safe January 2017 was valid. Now, it is also true that whether those vehicles were bought with or without your consent does not in any way vitiate the contract.
I agree.
You see what my friend Kamal is now doing? He's now telling us that the vehicles that President Nana and his government are using, and the vice president, they are about some 10-year-old vehicles.
I'm not now telling you.
No,
there's a fact out there as well.
Come on, allow him.
Allow him. He's saying those vehicles are 10 years old, and they're traveling from Eastern region back to Accra. The vehicle developed a fault, and the driver had to drive with extreme care.
Well, he didn't say that. Daily Guide told us.
Daily Guide is reporting same. You see, they are now trying to lay a foundation to justify the use of those vehicles.
But what did you see before procuring those vehicles?
Why,
you didn't
exactly,
need them.
exactly.
Exactly. Viewers will want to listen to each other. So,
it's a hypocrisy.
Don't distract me.
My worry has to do. My worry has to do with the hypocrisy. You know, in one leg, you don't want to use those vehicles because they were not properly acquired.
Nobody has said that.
You have issued a moratorium.
We never
issued a moratorium.
Honorable Aziz,
you see, you have issued a moratorium.
Nobody, not even Kojo Ponko.
I sit you on that. You see, you have issued a moratorium saying you won't buy vehicles for government. Now, you are trying to lay a foundation for use of that vehicle that we awarded for use by the presidency. What you need to do is to accept it in good faith. While the process was right and proper, and up to now, you have not been able to establish any wrongdoing in the procurement processes.
You are repeating what I said.
Oh, come my brother. My brother.
It's okay. You
take it easy with me.
All right.
So what I'm saying is that all this reportage you are having from the Daily Guide that Mr. Kamal is re-echoing on this platform is only a foundation for them to justify why those vehicles would be used. In a case, why? Before you came into power, during the vetting of the senior minister, he had indicated clearly that government was going to review contracts that were entered into by the SWAL NDC regime. So you are clothed with authority to review those vehicles if you think that they are unnecessary. But you see, as a country, let's move beyond this pettiness. And that's why I'm saying that we should try to re-engineer the transitional act of this country so that this brouhaha of vehicles are missing, 7 billion Ghana cedis is missing. We can bring an end to those issues. For all I know, that those vehicles were bought with the consent of the current regime. Why? When you talk about dismissing people who were employed in the last days of the NDC, why? You mean that once a different party wins an election, public servants should not recruit people into public service? But you are dismissing people just based on the fact that they were recruited in the last days of the NDC. Okay. So you are equally close with the authority to review this contract if you think it's unnecessary.
Okay, I'm grateful. Let me go to the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times this morning. I have wrapped up on that one. Let's move on.
You are all the time.
The issue of the Nchabuasi incident captured by the Ghanaian Times and Daily Graphic. Captain Mahama promoted measure, a government set up fund with 500,000 cedis, and the president himself donated 50,000 cedis to set up a fund. And we're told other things were coming from the state. Honorable Aziz, let me begin with you. This is encouraging, at least to the family and all Ghanaians, that serving the state perhaps isn't something that you will lose out in case of any mishappening from what we've just seen, isn't it?
It is with a very, very heavy heart that I comment on this issue. And even before I proceed, let me express my sincere condolence to the family of late Captain Maxwell, and my condolences to the Ghana Armed Forces too. This is not just a loss for the family or the Ghana Armed Forces. It is a loss for all of us. Ghana has lost a hero, somebody who was murdered in line of duty. People who have followed him will tell you that he was a very upright young man and that he gave out his best to the state. Having joined the military after secondary school, later furthered his education at the University of Ghana, went to do his second degree. I think he was doing his second master's with the University of Leicester when this unfortunate incident happened. I commend the steps taken by government to establish a fund to support the family, and the president taking the lead to donate some 50,000 Ghana cedis. It is a step in the right direction. I think he deserves a state burial. He deserves a state burial, and I also hear of some plans to build
to erect a monument.
A monument in memory of the late Maxwell. These are all good steps that I would encourage government to continue. But you see, it affords us an opportunity as a country to deal with the issue of mob justice. It could be a reflection of some...
Maybe mob injustice.
Exactly, mob injustice.
Mob injustice.
You know, it affords us an opportunity to deal with the issue of lynching suspects, not putting them before natural cause of justice. It's not proper, It could be a reflection of the level of mistrust that we have either in the judiciary or the police service. But that is not a justification to do what the people of Nchabuasi did. It is unforgivable. All those who have been arrested should be put before court, and if found guilty, they should be punished according to the laws of this country. It will serve as a deterrent to whichever community or person that may be engaged in this sort of shameful act. It also affords us as a country an opportunity to deal with this issue of Galamsey activities, because it all resulted from these Galamsey activities. When this fight against the Galamsey was resurrected, some 2-3 months back, we only talked about the destruction to the ecosystem, the destruction to our water bodies, farmlands. and the other related issues. But now I hear Gridco is complaining about they invading their infrastructure. It has led to the death of a very promising young man in the Ghana Armed Forces. And so it makes the discussion and the fight more urgent, and that all hands must be on deck for us to end this rather unfortunate practice of illegal mining. And then there's a story, I don't know if you've seen that story circulating in social media, of a thief who was caught around Kaswa, and it took them 2 hours questioning him to be sure whether he was a thief. And they were doing all these things with some soft drinks and biscuits because nobody wanted to give the first slap. So I'm sure as a country, we've learned our lessons in a very hard way.
Have we?
Hard way.
Have we? I mean, have we? I'm asking if we have, actually.
Well, at least the people of Denchirabuasi, right, have learned it in a very hard way. Yeah. And I'm sure other parts of the country would take a cue from that, and to know that, look, when someone is suspected to be a thief or to have committed any crime, what you do is not to lynch him, is to get him arrested. In fact, the law empowers us to arrest people even as civilians, except that when you arrest, you immediately hand him over to the police. And so let's see how the CID would gather enough evidence, and let's see the proper charges that the Office of the Attorney General would put against those people, and let's see the courts deliver justice. I don't think that we will handle this case like the way we handle these Delta and Invisible Forces. We can't do that. After all, the military is involved here. In fact, I was very much worried.
You see,
allow him to land. Have you landed?
Not yet. You see, I was not too much happy with the initial posture of the junior ranks within the military, who wanted to also take the law into their own hands. But the high command of the Ghana Armed Forces took charge and ceded everything to the Ghana police, who are mandated to deal with issues of internal security. You see, we have a video tape in relation to this unfortunate incident. I'm only saying that we don't want a situation where tomorrow we're told that they are filing nolle prosequi because of lack of evidence. You see, it is a culture of impunity that is actually creeping into our lives. It is un-Ghanaian. Kamal, you are aware that right after you took office, at the seat of the presidency, a police officer, a senior police officer, was assaulted. The young man who perpetrated that act is still there at the Flagstaff House, you know.
But we're told that the ASP Nanka Bruce has written that he is no more interested in the case, even though investigation started. So, but come on, so you can tell the political forces that may have come into play for a senior officer to be assaulted and for him to say that he is no more interested in the case. The state should be interested in this. All right.
From the Flagstaff House.
Honorable Aziz, I am grateful. Let me get Kamal. Kamal, so a fund is set up to keep the soldiers' memory on track.
Right.
That's the story we are discussing.
I'm actually going to restrain myself and stay on this matter. And by so doing, I am not going to invite politics into it at all, like my brother did.
I have not done that.
No,
I've not done that.
No, I have not done that. No, let me land. I'm not going to
I'm just cautioning your government.
You see, but I'm not surprised.
Just cautioning your government.
Because the general secretary of the party he belongs to sought to read politics into this matter.
I thought you said,
and that was sad. No, I'm not going. I said I'm not going.
Can we respect?
We are doing that. We're doing that. I'm doing that. And it's important. It's important we stay focused on this and try to fight this strongly with all the legal, as it were, arsenals that we have as a country to ensure that it never happens again. That is the way we should go about it. First of all, I would like to say that the family of the late captain, our condolences go to them, or goes out to them. It's with a heavy heart equally that I'm saying this. And every single person in this country who followed the story or who has followed the story would never be happy about what has happened. So, what is the way forward? The president at cabinet, I indicated earlier on, appeared a very sad person. Said, look, a state burial on the 9th of June be given to this late captain who fought in line of duty, because who fought for us and died when he was actually working for Mother Ghana. State burial be given, a monument be considered, okay, or they should consider erecting a monument in his memory, okay, and also ensure that a fund put in place or set up to ensure that his family is well taken care of with a seed capital of 50,000. Personally, the president also donated, and I'm saying personally, not the state.
Yes, it's from the
Very
president's own resources.
Let's commend the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and for that matter, the president of the Republic of Ghana for all this. It's a heavy loss to Mother Ghana. It's a sad loss to all of us. It's not time for us to sit down and do politics with this matter. No matter where I find myself, I won't do politics. It's not. We shouldn't equate this to Delta Force at all. We should not. It's sad. And of course,
so
yesterday something happened.
You agree with me?
No, I said we shouldn't equate it. You see, let us not, when we start talking about Delta Force, you want us to delve into politics. I wouldn't do that. I don't want us to do that.
About crime.
And I'm saying
it's
that
about crime.
what happened yesterday,
It's about crime.
look at how people are not happy to the extent that we had a mob, okay, thronging to the courts yesterday in front, in Accra at the circuit court, saying that, look, they wanted justice to be meted out immediately. And if you like, injustice, because I will still call it injustice. What happened to the late captain was mob injustice. We should not be seeing that. We should not see that to happen again in this country. Never again should we see such a thing. Now, if we have people rushing to court wanting to say, claiming that or wanting that they should release the people for them to also mete out same to them. I think that's unfortunate. It's about time we educated ourselves on this matter. It's about time we agreed that, look, mob injustice is not allowed at all in our society. The Constitution of Ghana is clear. When you read Article 125 of the Constitution of Ghana, it says justice emanates from us as a people. However, it gives you conditions on how to go about dispensing or giving out justice or making sure justice is actually delivered. It doesn't just tell you it emanates from you, therefore go and do whatever you want to do or take the law into your own hands. It gives you procedure to follow. Take Article 19. It gives you procedure to follow. So are we not supposed to educate our people? Are we not supposed to sensitize our people to know that indeed due process of the law is so important?
Early on, you said about, you spoke about whether we have learned any lessons. When Honorable Aziz said that,
I said no.
We have learned the hard way. You suggested
it's because of what happened at the court.
Is it because of what the heritage story about an angry crowd storming the court?
Absolutely, that's what I want to say. That is why I asked a question whether or not we have indeed learned learned from these mistakes. You see, the point is that if you have a crowd, rushing to the court to say that, look, allow them out, we want to actually also do what they did to the late captain. It's unfortunate. It's sad it happened. We're not happy about it. Nonetheless, let's ensure that the law takes its course. Again, my brother Aziz said something. He says, look, the lack of trust, okay, in our system or for the system that we have, sometimes could be a factor. We are told that, yes, the wheels of justice grind slowly. But we should also be careful not to over-delay on matters when they are so clear that, look, this is the way to go about it, but yet we drag our feet on it. If we are not careful, we'll create problems for ourselves. So I just think that the government of the day, and for that matter, the judiciary and the executive should try as much as possible to get to the bottom of this matter and get to the bottom of this matter so well, so that the law will deal with the people who
involved in it. I'm
grateful.
Come on.
Are you agreeing with me? Are you agreeing with me?
Yes.
That they should deal with this matter properly?
Yeah.
And that previous cases were not dealt with properly?
No, you see, that is why I'm saying that it is sad when we draw in political issues to this.
At all. This is
Well,
not
even
politics
in
at all. You see, that's what I'm saying. That if you
The
want us to
Attorney General
go,
who
if you
will
want
be
us to
leading
toe
this
the
case,
tangent of talking
the
about
Attorney
Delta
General-
Force, talking about what happened.
So, Aziz,
It is
Honorable
a
Aziz,
function.
Honorable Aziz,
I
which
think it's the proper
one
one.
get- you see-
which one are you talking? Which political issue are you talking about?
What I'm saying, my advice that Mr. Kamal is so unhappy about. You see, I'm not being political on
Not
this
me
issue.
alone.
No.
I mean, people watching us might
No,
not be happy with you.
we are
If you want
calling
us to
for
do
fairness. We
politics
are
on
calling
this
for
one.
justice. The process of prosecution is being led by the Attorney General of the state because she is mandated to deal with all criminal prosecutions on behalf of the state. We are in this country, and we all know what we are just coming from. That our recent history, where we have a video footage of some irate youth going to disturb our court premises, and yet we're told there was no evidence against them, and they were released. We are saying that don't adapt same posture and attitude in this case.
Let me-
But this is a very serious matter. You must be professional. You must be professional. No.
I have restrained myself to a
Aziz, let me-
point where you still want me to speak to do
come
this.
on.
Professional.
Come on, please. You
and
allow him
non-partisan about this
to
issue.
land.
We want to see how this issue would be handled. In fact, it involves a very senior person within the Ghana Armed Forces.
The
At least
president-
the rank
the
of
president is
Come on,
commander to this
you
model now.
interjected
You
too
take-
much. Allow Honorable Aziz to go on. Please go
I
on.
don't see why you are taking exceptions to. Well, I'm just cautioning that government should handle this matter properly, period.
Right.
And that
Okay.
You shouldn't deal with it in a short manner like you did to the issue of the.
Can I add something?
Well, Honorable Aziz,
No, can I add something?
beyond that.
let me ask you. The Heritage
Right.
is reporting. Kamala, come to you. The Heritage is reporting of an angry crowd storming the court, suggesting to beat the captain's killers. Now, should the police have taken action against these persons?
Exactly. The police should have taken action against them. You see, it could be a reflection or a play out of the anger of the Ghanaian public against that
The killers, the alleged killers.
the alleged killers of Captain Maxwell. But you see, mob action of any sort should be condemned. You don't correct a wrong with another wrong. But you see, the culture of people trooping into our courts, we must deal with it. I'm not speaking to this matter as an NDC or against the NPP. We must do everything humanly possible to preserve the sanctity of our courts. If we begin marching to courts, calling for mob justice, harassing court officials and judges, we are heading for a crash in this country. Our president, who we are lucky is a lawyer, he's been a lawyer for a very long time, a lawyer in good standing. I mean, he should do everything humanly possible under his powers as an executive president to ensure that some of these things are nipped in the bud. We can't. We must ensure the sanctity of our court system. Let's develop some faith in them. And so my advice to Mr. Kamal, you are in charge. We can only cry from the outside, but you are in charge. You can deploy the police to the court premises to ensure that some of these things don't happen. And so take a cue. When we were in power, there were some high-profile cases that we had to deploy heavy armed policemen to court premises just to ensure that some of these nasty sins didn't occur. We seem to have been losing that practice, and I would advise that you take a cue from the NDC, the incompetent NDC. Take a cue from us so that people don't go.
Oh,
you say we were incompetent.
All right.
See what's happening under
Come
the
on, wrap up and then we'll move to another issue. Go on.
Very good. I still condemn this mob injustice thing, and it's not a proper thing. I still will have to maintain my position that let us not draw politics into this discourse regarding the murder of the late captain at all. We should not.
No,
and that I still have to maintain my position on that.
I agree with
Nonetheless, due process of the law is also so important. Now, if you choose to say that due process of law, okay, is questionable, you question it with legal backings. You don't just sit down and think that when it suits me, I can say whatever I say. Emotions is not law.
No.
Clearly. If you cited this talk about Delta forces, which of course I said I'm restraining myself from going into it because of the matter before us. My point is so simple. Were the people arrested? Were they granted bail? Were they taken to court? A court of records for that matter. Did the judge sit on their matter? Did that judge at a point in time grant them bail? Now, did the attorney or the state prosecutor then come to say I have no evidence and I'm, of course, filing a nolli prosequi, application, and therefore the court grant them or take them out or acquit and discharge them so that the case will be discontinued. Now, bottom line is, all these processes, are they accepted in law?
They are.
They are.
Come on, let me remind you. The AG also said that,
Yes.
well, investigations will continue, and if there's anything, they will
Right,
arrest
good.
the person.
Right.
Up to now, we have not heard anything from the AG's office.
If investigation is ongoing, with all respect to the family of late Captain Mahama, with respect to all Ghanaians, because all of us are affected, are we not still having investigation ongoing in this matter?
We are.
Some revelations are coming up, some twists to the stories are coming up and all that. Are we privy to the entire detail of the investigation? No. So if the AG comes out to say, look, let investigation still be open on this matter and let's move on it. Are you telling me that the AG should come out open and say, every day this is where we have gotten to? It's not sluggish. It's not being sluggish. The point is that it's simple. Every process that you condemn today is due process of the law. And at the end of the day, no one can say that we went out to do anything wrong. Nobody. So don't even bring that right.
Okay. I'm grateful, gentlemen.
What do you call best standard? What do you call best standard? Might not be the best standard, but for someone.
Okay, let's wrap up this morning.
What you might call
BCU took off yesterday, and I think one area a lot of people were watching was Dinchra-Boase, where luckily everything went on well. But some issues in the northern part of the country where some 200 people were unable to write because their center wasn't there. Honorable Aziz, these unfortunate ones, quickly, what can we do for them? Because this is their future.
I haven't read the story, and about 200 people
200 of them
couldn't write because their center was not captured. That's unfortunate.
Around Bunkurugu, where there is some conflict.
That is unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Even before I proceed to comment on it, I would want to wish the candidates nationwide good luck in their exams, especially the pupils in the Mion constituency who are currently doing their BEC exam in Sang. I should have been with them at least yesterday, but for some other pressing national assignment, I couldn't go. But whatever support I had, I was able to send it home through my Director of Education. I wish them well. Myself and Mr. Kamal were just complaining about the unfairness in the entire examination process. You know, people attending a private school in Accra with professional teachers, with all the teaching and learning materials, writing the same exam, the same standard, the same marking scheme, with somebody from
a very deprived community like Bunkurugu,
a community like Tambabu in my constituency, where they don't even have a classroom structure. Teachers don't accept postings to those places. Some of the pupils have never seen a textbook before. You know, they sit and learn under trees, and when it threatens to rain, they leave. And we should see how we can develop a much fairer approach to examining our students. But that also brings to mind, Mr. Kamal, you can educate me on this matter. You know, President Nana-Addo and the MPP prior to the 2016 elections had talked about extending basic education to include senior high school. And by that pledge and wording, what it meant was that, you know, external exam was going to be conducted at the end of senior high school. I don't know if this is something that you are thinking about, so that we do away with if you are extending basic education to senior high school, what it means that the first terminal point of education will be senior high school. Right. And so they will do their first exam at the senior high school level.
Instead of the junior high school.
Instead of the junior high school. And so this is something that you guys must speak to
but
and address.
Even at the junior high school level, you still have an exam. Okay, but unless you are talking about external exam.
If it becomes basic is from KG to senior high.
To senior high school. That was the pledge that we had.
I guess
let's quickly wrap up.
Just wrapping up, I think let me also wish the young ones very good luck in their exam. Yesterday, I took to my wall on Facebook and then did so. Nonetheless, I would have to add this. We wish them well in whatever they do. Again, we would have to admonish our institutions like WAEC to make sure that all in this particular process are treated well. It's so important. Especially so when my brother just alluded to the fact that you go somewhere in a very deprived community the same people there is supposed to take same exam with the one who, of course, is in an urban center where all these facilities are available for him or her. And yet they are going to answer same questions. And they would have to also, again, go through trauma. Waking up to say that I'm going to write my exam, only to be told that my center is not found. You understand? Yeah. After going through all this preparation in that small village, where no light is, nothing, then I go up, they say, no center. So you wait. But I think it's important WAEC does a lot to ensure that they also don't miss out. They have to write. Now, to just end with, I'd say that, look, the question you posed, whether or not the basic education is going to end at SSS, and therefore we should have first external exam at the SSS. I mean, that's not a bad suggestion if it comes up. No. Nonetheless,
it's not that was a pledge you made.
I'm saying that is not
wanted to confirm.
Of course, but it's not yet a reform. If we have done that, but we have not even first implemented the free SHS yet. We are talking about implementing it in September. By that time, the roadmap to that will be clear. And we all know
the roadmap now.
We do have. Look, we do have.
We're in June.
We do have.
We don't have the roadmap now.
We do have blueprints. We do have that. We need to ensure that it puts in a policy. Then we change.
They have the blueprint, but they don't have the roadmap.
I'm quickly wrapping up, but not without this. We're told that about 20 houses along a storm drain under construction at Tema, a community near the Accra Abattoir is flooded. The houses have flooded with people trapped in their homes. Many are being rescued. Nadmo is there. Lady there, Josephine Frimpong, is joining us quickly. Josephine, good morning. Right, Josephine Frimpong is there. We're told rescue efforts are underway. The rains this morning beginning to cause some. Josephine is joining us from there. Josephine, good morning.
Good morning, Bright.
Exactly what is happening there by way of rescue efforts?
Right. Currently, the situation is same. There hasn't been any particular rescue operation going on. The police just arrived here. NADMO is yet to come to the scene. We have made some distress calls to them, but they are yet to arrive. The situation, if I could paint the picture to you, about 20 houses are flooded. The area is close to Committee 18 near the Accra Abattoir. It's a new development. When you are driving on the motorway on your right, you see a new bridge which is being under construction. It's a big storm drain. But the project has not been completed, and there's a portion which I'm told that a private developer had stopped the project. So as a result of yesterday's heavy downpour, it has caused so much havoc in the area. Houses are flooded to the brim. People are in. There's one particular story building which has an old lady, and she just can't come out. So people are trying to rescue the little children out, those who are expected to go to school. But those who feel that they need to be in, some are still in their houses, right? That is what is happening here in the area.
So those are the pictures you're seeing on your screens, the flooding there around Community 18 on the motorway. Josephine Frimpong came in from there. Those are some of the houses on your screens now. So, Honorable Aziz, so the issue, just been grateful, we'll get more from you later on. The rains have just started, and so perhaps beginning to caution people about where they live, particularly in urban centers.
Yeah, very unfortunate, especially those who live around the low land areas. They should be thinking of how to relocate, especially approaching the rainy season. But that leads us to the broader picture of people doing constructions at unauthorized places. And the other leg of the argument is even when they apply for authorization, it takes them years. And so we should reform our land administration. People, the assemblies officers who are supposed to give some of these permits should be up and doing. And let's see how, as a country, and also the constructions that we do. I'm worried that even today, just doing some few kilometers of road, we go to engage either the Chinese or some foreign contractors. They do the roads a year or two after. Then at the slightest rain, our roads are flooded. I don't know what our engineers are doing. I mean, I'm worried. We can't be paying these huge sums of money to local contractors who come and do the constructions. Few months after they are gone, then our roads are flooded at the least rates.
All right, come on, wrap up for me.
I think it's bad. Trust me, next year, by this time, we're going to sit here and be talking about floods again. Last year, we sat here and we spoke about it. Next year, we'll continue. The other year coming, we'll continue. That is the kind of people we are. We don't take safety measures serious.
Attitude.
Or seriously. It's bad.
Attitude.
And I think our attitude ought to be looked at. Now, if at the end of the day, you go out there and then apply for a permit and you are not given the permit, it becomes a problem. When, of course, the engineer is supposed to tell them where you are siting your building, it's not a proper place. Because you are likely to go into, to witness flooding there. They won't listen. So it's about time we crack the whip and ensure that the right thing is done. We don't just get up and build anywhere. We are told by your reporter, that it is a newly developed area. It means that proper care is not taken regarding roads, networks, regarding drainages and all that. That has not been. So it's about time that, look, if we take this particular community that is going to come, a town and country planning come in conjunction with the district assembly there or the state local authorities there, sit down, plan the routes. If government has money, if they don't have money, anybody who is coming, charge the developer there that you have this amount of money to pay to the assembly towards the construction of drainages before you even start your building. Now, if about 100 people are supposed to construct there, then you tell them that, look, payment to local authority is, say, for example, 200 cities or 500 cities towards construction of drainage before you even start your building. Trust me, if that is a law, and of course the bylaws can be made at those assemblies, if that is a law and it's put in place, we will not be seeing some of these.
All right. I'm grateful. Kamaldeen Abdullahi is the NPP's National Nasara Coordinator, and Abdulaziz Mohammed is a Member of Parliament for the Mian constituency, a member of the NDC. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this morning.
Propaganda this morning.
Oh, no. You did your propaganda.
A bit of propaganda.
We couldn't touch on the NPP executives in government being asked to resign.
Oh,
but,
okay.
By
my acting general secretary.
Yes.
I think, we at National Council, we agree that, look,
all
government is government, party
they're
is
still
party.
in office. Some 2-3 weeks ago, they were asked to step down.
Oh, we asked
some are still in
of
office?
Yeah, well, but some have actually resigned. Some are, you see, you can't combine the two. It's not really easy, especially when we want to consolidate on our gains going forward in 2020.
They should go and leave space for some of you to come in.
I have indicated I don't want to go into government. I want to say
no. I'm saying that they should leave these party positions for some of you to come in.
Very well, for us to
you are going for the
I know Kama is lazy.
I wish you well, my brother.
Thank you.
I mean, you'll be a nice youth organizer.
Thank you. All
right. The propaganda you have to tone down.
At least I'll be a very nice one to make sure they stay in the position.
You have to tone down the propaganda in you.